Morning, team. Good morning. Back on the charts. Monday morning, last week of March. Lots of news on the way this week. And we have a bit of a technical breakout in the market following some potential rumors of some tariff relief, which came at the weekend. Right, so some of you will have seen I was away from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, got back late last night, and we're back on the chart. So let's have a good week this week. Let's close out Q1 strong, lock in those profits, and go into the next quarter looking good and feeling good. So as always, let's start off on the daily chart. Okay, right here, daily chart. What are we doing right now? We're going to back test the 20-day, 5-day. Remember, has been hugging us all the way down between the lower Bollinger until we started to base, and now we've got a back test of the 20-day. Now, can we get relief above this? Absolutely. There's potential for upside relief above it. Our location to buy right now is not great. All right, unfortunately, big old gap up. Here's Friday's close, previous week close. There's your breakout from this sort of flag and the upside squeeze. So we don't really want to be participating as buyers up here. I want you to look left as well. We have an old gap, old weekly gap right here above us, and we have one beneath us. All right, so these are thin levels of liquidity. Now, if buyers are going to take control, you would not want to see this gap filled. You would want to see this gap stay open. All right, so if this morning, if buyers are going to take control, we're looking for a pullback into old resistance levels, form some sort of liquidity and an RBS level here for a drive up maybe into this gap. All right, and then over that, we can think about where there are pools of liquidity, which we can go into on the hourly chart. So let's do that now, moving across to the hourly. You can see right here, we left this old point of control Friday, closed higher, opened up with a gap. Like we said, we had that tariff news over the weekend. We formed this sort of flag in London and Asia, and we've exploded out of it. Why are we exploding out of that? Well, where are all the stops? Stops. They've become our fuel. All right. Shorts covering, shorts covering, shorts covering. Allow this upside drift. Now, where's the best location now? It would be a back test on these R levels, wouldn't it? This blue box I put in, remember, this was resistance, 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 resistance. We want a back test of this for a better level to buy off. If you're buying up here, you're going to be buying, let's work this out, about 100, 150 points higher than necessary. All right, so ideally, we get some form of back test. If we don't get the back test, it's because we're just going to keep squeezing higher, and so be it. It can go without me. We'll have to wait for some other structure to form. If it comes back, all right, and back tests and puts in some bullish structure or something like this, we're going to think about getting longs. All right, look how steep this channel is up. All right, it might want to come and liquidate some of these guys. That doesn't mean we short it. We just need to be aware we're not buying high. If we come and back test and we stay heavy, all right, if we fail this, what does this become? This becomes overhead supply. This becomes buyers who chased the market above, all right, and it means that they will be trapped, all right? So look above, you'd be looking above. Remember that we're boxed in here, all right? This was a look above this level and we failed. This was a look above this level and we failed. This can be a look above and we can fail. It has the opportunity to do that on the hourly. All right, so I'm not looking to join short unless, well, there might be a scalp short here somewhere, but I'm not really interested in anything like that. If we fail this back test, if we stay heavy under here, and I think, okay, we're going to go for that gap fill. All right, at that point, I'd be risk off. Anything under here would be a new short trade. That would be a trade back inside what? Inside this horrible, dreaded range. Ideally, we don't see that. And ideally, we see this kind of move here. Maybe it holds Asia London high. So let's move into this 5-minute chart and we can talk about what we've done overnight in Asia and London. All right, here's your gap. There's your gap up. In fact, we can move this grey box because it is wrong. Let's just pull this up. Maybe it's all right. Pull this up a little bit. Must have adjusted that. There we go. All right, so here's your gap up. Pulling back, holding the gap, drive higher. Asia sideways, drive higher. London flag, drive higher. And then again, rinse, repeat, little inverted head and shoulder, drive higher. All right, so bulls are in control here. Bullish flow in terms of structure, very, very bullish. So the other key levels we can think about is if it wants to hold this level here, all right, the London high, if it wants to sweep all these people out, but hold this structure here, that would also be very bullish. So a move into a hold of 220 or a dip below 220 and a reclaim, 220 is going to be key today. Underneath that, then we're thinking about VWAP, we're thinking about this liquidity down here, 180. We're thinking about this higher time frame technical breakout from here. All right, we can move this down a bit. So we'd be looking at sort of 170, 144s, somewhere around that blue box. All right, so if we fail further than London, then I'm thinking we come back down into somewhere around here. If we are unable to hold this blue box, then I'm not really thinking long at that point. I'm just going to let it shake out because it's then becomes a bit iffy if it wants to come and drift all the way down, take out Asia, go into that gap, either reclaim or that heavy move that we talked about. What I don't want to be doing is buying up here right now. All right, think about this. Strong channel, liquidity, 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 liquidity. Where's the better structure? Here, here. What don't I want to happen? Buy the top into the 20-day and get slammed on at the open. Do not want that. All right, so I'm very, very aware of that right now. We've drifted very, very high overnight on that gap up. Remember, previous day close is way, way, way down. There's PDC. PDC 960, PDH 977. All right, way, way, way down. So we're watching that. We're watching that. Might want to come and shake some of these late bulls out. Has anyone else had this, by the way? I've woken up and my trading views decided it's going to plot this blue action for overnight action on. I can't work out how to turn it off. Can't see it anywhere. Must be some new update on TradingView. Looking at the VIX, right? VIX also gapping down. All right, drifting down into 18s now. All right, so out of those 20s into the teens. If VIX starts letting go, it might want to back test previous day close. Would be up to sort of 1929, 1930. And then we might move lower off that. So watching that very, very carefully. The ETFs pretty much in line with everything we're looking at right now. All right, on the Qs, I'd be looking for a back test of sort of 486 down to 484.50s. A hold of that would be bullish for a move up to 492.50. On the SPY, very, very similar. We're looking for a back test somewhere down towards 469. No, anywhere in the 469s down to, yeah, pretty much 469s. If it can hold that, looking for that move up to that 200 SMA 473.50s and through that back test 475s. On the ES, one thing I'd say, ES is not too far away from its higher time frame back test, which would be all the way up to 5865, 5,865, somewhere around there. So watching the same thing across all the indexes right now. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's have a quick look at the Mag 7. We can do this on here so you can see, because I always do it on another chart, really. All right. Apple, big gap up over previous day high, previous day close, nice big gap up. I don't know why this is showing like this, because this is incorrect. Let's reload that. Come on, TradingView. No more bugs today, please. All right, well, that's completely incorrect. So I don't know what's going on TradingView, but this is your previous day close. All right, so big gap up here on Microsoft, same on Apple. Gap up here on Amazon, previous day close is 94s, so nice gap up. $2 gap. Google gapping up from 65. All right, so another $2 gap. Nice strong gap up here across the market. Meta. Let's move this into a higher time frame. Maybe we'll see it a bit cleaner. Meta gapping up as well. Oh, do you know what it is? It's because... There we go. That's better. Let's do that again. I don't know what's going on here. Right, Apple. There you can see the gap now. Right, nice gap up, $2 gap up, Apple, sitting above previous day highs. Same story on Microsoft. Same story on Amazon. All right, strong gap on Amazon. Same story on Google. Same story on Meta, strong gaps. Same story on Nvidia. And the same story on Tesla. So MAG, all in a strong gap up right now. All right, the MAG in a strong gap up right now. So what do we have there when we have gaps? Gap rules apply, all right? So we're looking, really, our first thing we should be thinking about is a pullback to get long. So the first thing you should be thinking about in a gap up, right? Failure to hold that pullback to get long, then we're thinking about that gap fill reversal. Those are the two plays on deck. But right now, the market sentiment has been very, very bullish since that overnight. Let's have a quick look at what you said, TR, because I'd love to get these off. Turn off shading. So settings, symbol. Where do you go here? Electronic. There we go. Thank you, sir. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? I'm just going to do that on all my charts now. It's kind of them to update all our charts without asking, isn't it? Came to the screen thinking, what is going on here this morning? Let's just get this updated then. Thank you for that, TR. So that you should understand what we're looking at now, all right, for the day. Ideally, pullbacks, all right, pullbacks to hold. If pullbacks don't hold, then we change sentiment. It's really that simple. It's Monday. We have news, by the way, PMI coming 9:45. That has moved the market frequently, right? So we want to be careful coming into 9:45. I'm probably going to let this market shake out, let it print that 9:45 number, and then see what's what. Tuesday, not much news Tuesday, and then we've got numbers coming Wednesday and Friday. So I'm looking for a weekly model here. Right, this week, those in the Discord, I'm looking for a weekly model, maybe a Monday, Tuesday push, and then we see what we get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we go from there. All right, let's see who's in the chat with me this morning. Morning, Clint, Miguel, Trentry, TR, Exister, Jeff, Tracy Jones, Florida Man, Arturo, Stephen, Peter, Louis, Thumper, Pat, Cat, Dopamine, Brad, Indicator, Lyndall, Jesse M, Julian, BU, Vince, Crawford, Myron, Mr. Slim, Ramus, Stephen Stee, Eva, Christy W. Lots of you back here again. Great to see you all. Marek, Ironclad, Wisdom Lover, Slash Chi, Scrooge Max Bucks, Paul, Bay, Brandon. Good morning, everyone. Brandon Olsen saying, hi, I'm a newbie here. I just bought the course last night. I saw that, Brandon. Welcome to the team. Yeah, lots of you taking advantage of that Easter sale, which ended last night. Lots of you took advantage of that last week. And I look forward to trading with you all. Should be fun. Should be fun to get into it with you all. So 1 minute left to the open. Let's have a quick look at the book. Go for Hill saying, howdy, I bought the course too. Good morning, Go for Hill. Looking forward to working with you. All right, looking at the book, we have a big seller, all right, on the ask all the way up at 20,400. Where would that take us? That would take us into the old gap. Don't tell me that gap's disappeared. Here we go. This is right in QM. Let's get the right contract up. All right, into the old gap. So there's a big seller sat right now, right up here. All right, he's looking to sell up there into that old gap. On the H1 as well, you can see the levels of liquidity that we're looking at today. All right, if we're going to drift higher, other than the gap, all right, we've got this sort of double top sat here in front of 500, and then another one at 730, and then another one at 950. So I'm not saying we get all the way up to those today, but if the market has a potential to hold, all right, maybe this session is a hold for that drift higher, then that's what we're looking at. All right, again, failure underneath here. We need to be very, very careful at that point. I would not want to be a bull chasing this market at highs. Remember, we are looking for the market to set a higher low on the daily, as a reminder. Market now open, everyone. And already a sharp drift back at that open. And we're just going to wait and see what we get. That's all we have to do here. Remember, Tariff news coming April 2nd. That's really what the market is waiting for right now. So far, drifting down towards the Asia high. Didn't quite make it. Sorry, the London high, that yellow box. We're looking to see, can we sweep this liquidity and do we find a buy in here for rally back up? Otherwise, if we fail here, maybe there's a buying opportunity down here today. Those are the things I'm looking at this morning. All right, so looking to see how far is this going to move down? Potentially after trapping those buyers at the highs. ES getting stuck at its 20-day, as is the Qs, or are the Qs, I should say. Remember, there is a chance for this market to produce a lower high on the higher time frame. I'd like that lower high to be set higher, and I'd like this morning dip to come deeper than this right here. We didn't even sweep that level there. Have we done it on the ES? Yes, ES has swept a level there. Really like this to come a little bit further down into this kind of level here. Remember, this here was ripe to get swept, right? We don't want to buy highs. We're looking for a move either into yellow box or blue box, and then we're looking for some structure to think about that return long. If there's no structure, I will not be getting long, all right? Not guessing bottoms in this. It needs to prove to me. Drifted much, much higher overnight. Big old gap up. Remember, 300 points higher already in this session. Just let this settle down. Your Monday morning, remember, it's the first day of the new contract, of everyone on a new contract. And you've got a week left until this quarter closes. Let's make sure we mark everything out before we forget as well. Where's our open? You right here, sir. This is our New York Open. And I'm also going to do an anchor off that open because we're gapping up so far today. So let's get that set. New York anchor. That print? It didn't print, did it? Let's try that again. Do we have a trading view issue here, printing anchor view ups? Feels like it. Okay, trading view not printing anchor view ups now on this update. That's fantastic, isn't it? Anyone else having that issue? Let's try it off a high. Yeah, trading view just unable to print anchor view ups this morning. Gotta love trading view on an update. That's fantastic, right? Fortunately, I have it on my my other Ninja. There we go. So print that. Oh, it's just taking ages to come in, is it? Great, trading view. That's encouraging for the day, knowing that you're that delayed. All right, so big push here in the morning while I'm already faffing around because of trading view. Jesus Christ. Tech issues to start the day. Why do they do updates like this without being announced? It's crazy. All right, morning dip holding. Did we sweep there? Yes, we did. We swept this internal level, holding in front of this Asia. This is very bullish right now. Starting to become bullish. We're going to wait for a bit more structure to be built, something like this, or maybe down here and go. This is looking very, very bullish, that morning dip holding here. So I'm thinking about how can I get long right now? Can we come deeper for me to get long? Sort my ETFs out here as well. SPY back into VWAP here. Sorry, folks, getting sorted here on a Monday morning still with this update. Q still underneath VWAP right now. Last push getting rejected right here at the New York Open. Big, big levels here. Remember, market gapping up. Tesla 5% up. Nvidia 2.5% up. Meta 3% up. Google just under 1% up. Amazon 2% up. Microsoft 0.5% up. And Apple, the weak one, 0.35% up. So Apple, relative weakness. Still gapping up, but relative weakness in the market right now. SPY through its VWAP here. A little bit of divergence here as the market shakes across the few indexes. But looking to see if we can put in a bullish pattern down here. Maybe not. That last drive up had the chance to build liquidity up there. Failed to build and got sold into. Maybe the markets want to wait for this news print this morning. Into the overnight high there. Right, that yellow box. Remember, this is right here. This is the first level I'd consider. All right, really, I'm more interested as a buyer down here. All right. If we fail this, we're probably going to come and sweep all this action. So strong selling coming in so far this morning because those buyers are probably trapped up high. Just letting this shake out. No trade here yet for me this morning. ES looking good. SPY looking good. All right, relative strength over there. They're looking good. VIX, new low of day, 1870. This is looking like it wants to set up for a squeeze here. The question is the market ready to do it yet, or is it going to wait for that news event at Q2? It's sort of respecting that Globex level right now, that orange box. We're just waiting right now, right? It's only 5 minutes in. You've got your opening range right now. Those of you who play orbs, 5-minute orb, you've now got your orb set, your higher day and your low in that orb. There's your low, there's your high. That's your orb range for those of you playing the 5-minute. ES having another attempt to shove up towards overnight highs. Still holding the view up on the SPY. Relative weakness right now in the Qs. Q sitting near low of day, ES not doing that. Spiders sitting near high of day, Qs sitting near low of day. There's your divergence this morning. Probably got more strength in financials right now, I would say, or something like that, or healthcare. Spiders having a decent shove here off the view up. I'm wondering if this is going to start trying to pivot 2050 and then start running for those high of days here. 100 lot on the tape here, right in front of us, in front of 2050. Market fell asleep. Market, it's only 7 minutes in there, Scrooge. You got to be patient. Market's waiting for that news probably, which is coming in 7 or 8 minutes time. Probably more likely what is happening right here. Watching to see if they're going to squeeze this. Back towards high of day. ES already breaking high of day, setting new high of days here. Or the spiders, I should say. They're heading towards pre-market highs, Globex highs. Can it take those levels out? Clean this up. Where's this anchor? So Q's trying to join in now. Relative strength at the spiders. Looks like they want to try and set this squeeze to come and take out liquidity here for that drift higher right now. This is what the market's trying to do. Can it take out this liquidity here or build this liquidity here for that drift higher? Remember, you've got news coming though, big, and it is red folder news, which is on the way. Just be aware of that. Here's the drift higher. There's new high of day across the indexes right now. Can we join for this push up through the flow zones? Looking good. Lovely. Looking for high of day. There we go, high of day. Moving my stop up, just trailing this with it because we're in a squeeze scenario here. Looking fantastic. How high can we go now? As we reclaim these flow zones. Can we build more liquidity out here? Remember, we've swept high of day. So now waiting to see if we build more and I can add more into it. All this move back upside. Protecting that yellow box, remember, like we talked about. Looking for buys once we show that we're protecting that. There's the shift. Can we base over this for the drift into the old box and 400 now? Remember, you've got news coming in 6 minutes. All right, so you want to be risk off into 6 minutes time. ES testing its 20-day now, so mean reversion complete from a technical standpoint on the ES. We're almost there on the... I'm on the wrong chart here. We're almost there here. Left you on the wrong chart. Sorry, team. There's the drive. Hold of this. Can it build more liquidity now for that drive up? Remember, we're coming into that 20-day moving average in towards 300. 20 days sat pretty much right at 300. All right, so taking partials into that move, please. ES already tapping its 20-day. QQQ at its 20-day. Spiders not quite there. They've got to go a bit higher. 57230s, 20-day on the spiders, and the 200 moving day above that. Big levels that the market might want to aim for today. So let's see if it builds out liquidity here for that inverse right shoulder, if it's going to do it for that drift higher. Otherwise, if it's a sweep, if it's just taking out the overnight highs, this is why I risk off into news. Remember, the main low-hanging fruit was to here. It either builds liquidity out for a new structure to go long, or it trades back inside range now. Julian couldn't join too close to news. That's fine. As long as you're sticking to your rules, that's good. I just scalped out a little bit there. Just from like here to here. 20, 30 points. That's it. On that little shove for the clear out. Now we just wait. VIX basing now around 1860. See if it wants to move back down to a new low of day. Like we said, spiders, the SPY tapping its 20-day. If the SPY gets through that, it can backtest up towards 573. ES tapping its 20-day was already through it. It's coming to backtest that 5,800 level. All right. Remember, on these drives higher, we don't know how high these drives higher are going to go. You can think about a fib on the daily and the weekly for that 4-week fail for that drift in. You can think about the old RBS levels. All right. For me, that would be way up higher. I'd be looking for some sort of backtest towards 21,000. If we're really going to be nasty here and truly test where buyers got stuck from. Doesn't have to do it today, but if we were going to do that, and I'd be looking for a lower high to be set on the daily anywhere up there. All right, maybe we sweep all the liquidity, we drift somewhere into and around 21,000 and set a lower high. It can be set before that if the market stays weak. Really, it's going to depend what happens into April 2nd. All right, so far a sweep. Like we said, the options now are into news. Can it build liquidity here for a continuation higher? Failing to do so, failure back under here, opens up back inside range. Remember, range is here to here so far on the day. We're risk off now, just waiting for that newsprint. But if we're going to drift higher, it's going to have to build liquidity here for that move. Failure to do so, we move back into this level here. So why did we find a bid there? What was your RBS level? Resistance, 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 support, support. RBS, nice and simple, right? And then we join the move once it proves itself. Failure to hold this. Remember, we talked about it. That will be a look above and fail. And then we'll drift back down in towards blue. Maybe sweep some of this out. So scalp mentality this morning until it proves itself to me. Plus, it's a Monday. Plus, it's my first day back on the screens. And we just wait here for a bit. Market's still holding on pretty well here. All right, Tesla, the strongest one, 6% up. Nvidia, 2% up. Meta, 3.35% up. Google, 1.5% up. Amazon, 2.34% up. Microsoft drifting back towards close price here. So Microsoft about to fill its gap, bit weak. Apple found a bid, now 0.75% up. Market here holding that view up that we put on, the intraday view up off the New York print, managing to hold it for now, that green line, and the New York open. Like we said, it will need to build liquidity here. It will need to build a right shoulder here. We can go down time frames if you want. It will need to build a right shoulder here for the ability to move higher. Failure to do so will pull us back into this range, and then we're thinking about potentially buying from lower. Or if you wanted to, you could think about fading it back down into towards these, of course, as well. I'm just going to wait for news now. Less than a minute away, 45 seconds away. Look, we'll get thin on this news, folks. Okay, remember that. Your ATR volatility, it will start to thin out into this news. Looking to see who stays on the book here. That's why I'm looking at my monitors on the left. All right, that seller all the way up at 20,400 still there. 435 lot on the book there. We've got a bit of selling into 325 and a little bit 50 lot at 300. Not much else on the book down below. Nothing I'm really interested in. There's a bid at 200, but it's very small. 50 lot, 60 lot down there. Looks like it's trying to build that inverse head and shoulder for that drift higher right now. Remember, news coming right here, right now. All right, my Ninja Trader is completely frozen and gone the opposite way. Some of you might see that. So you can see here in my Ninja Trader, this is the problem with news. There's the gap and the fade. So be very, very careful here. They're clearly struggling to print these candles properly right now. That's a completely different print on Ninja Trader versus this. So maybe some of you have that. So clearly, Trader 8 struggling with the data there. I'm going to let this just shake out for a minute. What I don't want to do is get a bid in the market and get slammed because they're struggling. A lot of people would have got stuck there for sure on that freeze. My top step just put me into pre-market and then back to the open when the news hit. Never seen that before. Yeah, they're clearly struggling here with some data. So like I said, I'm just going to back off. Not interested. I can see that there's a very, very big difference in how these candles are printed. I got a high of 303. Did that make 303? So TradingView didn't even have this hitting the same high. So we have divergence here, all right, on the prints. Everything's different here. It's very rare you see this, but sometimes it happens. It will probably shake out and fix itself in a minute. The book map doesn't have it through 300. So that is something wrong with Ninja. How it's digested that data from the CME, from TradeOvate is incorrect. 71's just making sure. Everything's lining up now, just that high. We had that pause and freeze and then that drift higher or that big shove higher. But we didn't take out the seller at 300. I can see it on the book map. So I know that we haven't printed through 300. So the chart, which is currently incorrect, is Ninja Trader. It's not TradingView. TradingView is correct. This is building that out, that shoulder nicely now. Look, holding bids, looking for that drift higher. Looks pretty good here. Just trying to let this settle down for a minute. I think once we can get through these 300s and start to base, there is a trade higher at that point up towards 400s. Wow, it's got me in a trade that I'm not in. What is going on here? Just had to flatten all. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, I'm not touching anything here. Just went to put a limit down below and it filled some and not others, and I was nowhere near it. So clearly some data issues here. I'm just going to sit out here for a minute, folks. I'd like to be joining this long, but unfortunately, something is up now. Something's definitely up with Ninja Trader or TradeOvate. It might be just the issues from TradeOvate. Let me just have a look to see if anyone's talking about it. Anyone else experiencing issues or just me? Very, very odd. All good your side? Okay, maybe this just settles down in a second then. Your chart's differently. Just me. That's mad, man. That is mad that I am getting a weird print there then. So none of you are having this gap here. None of you have this gap here or this drive up to an incorrect number. That is nuts. Yeah, I'm going to do a disconnect and reconnect now. Yeah, seems to be keeping that gap in. So there was definitely a data issue there. Yeah, other people having it. Yeah, Douglas having an issue. Enrith the Bull having an issue. Yeah, Camille, but probably just a delay and then offering that data. I'm sure they'll sort it out. This still looks good for that drift higher here, folks. We're holding 300. It feels like it just wants to drift higher in towards those 400s, in towards that old gap that we talked about. Remember, the dip this morning has held. All right, momentum so far is remaining bullish. Here's the dip, sweeping the liquidity. Everything we talked about pre-market. Sweep this liquidity, hold this, dip inside. There's your inverted shoulder, and now drifting higher. I'd be in this long if it wasn't for this issue I'm having currently with Ninja Trader. This looks good, though. If they can keep holding bids above 300, I think you've got that drift into that old gap of 400. It's very, very possible and probable here. See if this is going to let me join long now. Maybe it's going to participate here. You going to let me join? There we go. No. Come on. Come on, data. Come to life, data. All right, I'm wanting to get long here for this move up. All right, this is what I'm looking for, something like that. ideally with the flow zones catching up. But this is everything we wanted. Remember, we talked about sweep, the late bulls, hold the RBS, print this shoulder. This looks fantastic now for a drift higher, right? And you'd be targeting the move into the old gap. Remember, this is your old gap. Look at the old weekly, the old daily. This is an old gap. Partials into here. If we can drift into the old gap, psychological at 400, and then upside. If we get through that, all right, 517s are a level that I'm looking at. Lots of, or 520s, lots of liquidity sat there on an hourly chart. All right, if we can get up there, we really get going today, that would need a big old push. But this level right here on the hourly, you can see it. Right, if we're going to get going into here. 9 minutes left until we get a new hourly and 4 hour as well. But I'm looking for a shove up into sort of 500. Let's flatten that out a little bit. Into the 500s would be great. And then through that, let's just make sure that's tight. Into 730s maybe tomorrow. If we really get going on a weekly model, we will have to see. Oh, tech issues to start the week. Never fun. Never fun. All right, this is the key level now. And this is where we broke out from. It will need to hold bids in and around here for any continuation. Failure to do that will be that drift inside, and then we can use it in another way for a chop back down. But so far, structure is bullish. It's looking to keep squeezing higher here. Mag's looking very, very strong. I tell you what, though, the VIX did find a bid. So that had a big old flush out to 1480 and found a bit of a bid here. So it's going to come and back test where we failed from. This is going to be key here on the VIX. Does it stay heavy versus 1885 or not? Peter's having issues as well. Okay, lots of you having issues this morning then. My top set and trading view platform are running good. Price just froze on the bar streamer counting down. Jake up one. Yeah, it's never good. No issues at Tradeovate. Peter saying switch to my other broker and in this long and holding a runner. Okay, nice. Yes, always unfortunate. Can't really do much when tech starts to play out like that, can we? It's frustrating. It is what it is. So you should either be, if you are lucky and you caught this long like we talked about, you're looking good, or even up here when I was trying to get long and I just couldn't, and it started to freak out on Ninja Trader. But we're looking for this level to hold. This level must hold now for any continuation upside. Remember, the target is this gap here. Might find some selling into that. We can look at the spiders, SPY trying to find a bid and hold its 20-day, that 572. If it can hold that, it's going to come and drift at least a point higher on the SPY to come and back test its 200-day. I'm waiting now to see this. It's looking a bit janky to me on Ninja Trader still. I don't know whether to do one more little reset here. Still looking for that drift high. It still looks good, folks. Like if you're in this, you're looking good. Looking for that drift into that grey box, and then you can start selling a little bit into that grey box. Or maybe take a partial now at 320s and then hold some. Liquidity on the book, though. 350, 400, the next levels, all right? You're a 50, 60 lot at 350, and then at 400, you've got a 438, not 39 lot now up there. Don't be joining the extended move. Look how it's building liquidity. Right, really, we want a back test. If you're already in this here when I was trying to get long, congratulations. You're looking good. That's 20, 30 points. You can pay yourself a little bit in front of this grey box. If they protect this grey box, this is going to be key. If and how they protect this grey box. Remember, it's an old daily and weekly gap. Remember, the longs, even though I like the longs this morning, remember the longs, we have to be aware at some point on the higher time frame, we're expecting it to produce a lower high. If you're thinking, what is he on about? Think about the daily. At some point, we are expecting the market to produce a lower high, right? Because we would expect some kind of push up. We don't know if it's going to be here, here, or here for the failure and the retest back down. All right, and then we make the decision either going lower or then we start pivoting. So I don't want to be long too far up into here, especially with this Bollinger starting to trade downside. And we're coming into the mean reversion. Remember, lower, upper, 50% mean reversion is right here. Grey box, purple line. It's all lining up right now. That's why I wanted dips this morning. I don't want to aggressively buy the high of day. I think you're asking to get hurt. That morning dip paid, didn't it? 100 points off that already if you held. Scrooge Max Bucks waiting for the IB. Yeah, don't blame you. 4 minutes left until we get that new hourly and 4 hour here. God, I'm trying not to be annoyed already with a Monday morning issue. Come to the charts, TradingView not wanting to print properly and with their update. Then you get a newsprint and Ninja Trader completely freaking out. I mean, it's hard enough being a trader as it is without all these issues. At least we've locked a little bit of money in. All right, getting stuck here. It might want to come and sweep these levels. Think about how we've built that liquidity. What's the signature? We're building liquidity straight up. It might want to sweep this and then turn around. This is the key level here for me today. 290, 300, somewhere in here. How it holds, how it participates. Make sure that's anchored correctly. Yeah, Paul Gala saying his Ninja Trader froze for like 20 seconds. Yeah, mine froze, then printed incorrectly, and then was giving me incorrect price. So definitely some issue. All right, drifting higher into those 350s like we talked about. Another 20 points up here, possible on the tape, 330 to 350. That's where they're trying to shove it to, where that seller is, an 82 lot up there, which will take us into the gap. All right, so sort of protecting this gap now. I've got the gap starting now. Just make sure that is absolutely correct here on the daily. Zoom right in. Maybe 340 there. Yeah, so tapping into that old weekly and daily gap here. If we drift through this, we can come all the way up towards, let's pull this down, make sure it's correct, in towards those 430s. And if we get through that, we take out liquidity 500. Tapping into the gap here for now. So the start of the gap, start of an old new week opening gap, which was left unfilled. Yeah, exactly, Paul. It's like driving on the highway with your headlights off at night. Yeah, exactly. Never a nice feeling. SPY continues to be strong. It's looking for that back test of that 200-day moving average right now on the spiders. That's what it looks like to me. Not looking to buy up here, though. I do not like how we're building liquidity or not building liquidity. All right, just in this here. I'm looking for a back test, a wash of this before I think about anything, because I know they can protect this if they want to. That can be the aim. And it's only Monday morning. Let's have a quick look at the market. Tesla, big response here this morning. 7.33% up. Big response from Tesla this morning. Mag still looks good. Tesla 7.5% up now. Nvidia 2.15% up. Meta 4.15% up. Google 2.13% up. Amazon 3.50% up. Microsoft the week one now, under 0.25% up. And Apple almost 1% up now. So a good drive here this morning from the mag. See how we're starting to reject right into that grey box, starting to find some sellers. Now the key here is sort of this RBS level where we broke out from. All right, do they soak these levels? Maybe sweep some of this and soak or not. If they fail to hold this, all right, then we can drift back down to lows. If this is a pump to dump, we can drift back down to lows. And you've got a new hourly bar coming here in 30 seconds, new hourly and 4 hour bar. So we're going to think about that bar, that transition, how we look in that bar. It's a big 4 hour push. And the old 4 hour high is the yellow box, right? So that was a technical back test of that and hold. So same levels are going to apply here in this new hour and 4 hour. Right, it's a big old push up this morning. 350 points higher so far this morning. Here's your H1, new H1, H4. So far, holding flow zones, every single dip being soaked so far. Bit of an unwind from shorts probably this morning as they got caught, the swing shorts from the last month or so. Would love a dip lower here rather than just a straight upshot higher. But I don't feel like I'm going to get anything I want here this morning now. It's giving me those 2 trade options already. I'd like Kit to build a little bit of liquidity low. I'd like that back test back down towards 300 really to really see it firm up and reprice some of this old hour. Remember, point of control now, 275 on the session. And we have a gap on that old hourly bar. If we think about this, if it wanted to fill, it can come back down here on this hourly. If it wanted to fill the 4 hour, it can come even deeper back down to where we started from this morning. All right, so very, very aware of that right now. So rejecting that gap almost to the tick. Okay, and does it find bids into here? All right, or does it need to reprice that whole hourly bar down towards 275? We're just waiting to see what we do here. A little bit lower would be nice, and then some bullish structure, and we think about a trade upside. And if it can't put in bullish structure, then we think about that sort of chop back down on that hourly. It's possible, but flow is bullish for sure. Market's looking very strong here. Come on, you got to go deeper than that. Protecting 300s there. Didn't even get into it. Oh, what a pain. What a pain. All right, watching this now to see if this flag is going to go. I'd really like that structure to be built out deeper. I really don't want to be buying this high today. I would much rather we came back down into here. That would have been much better. 1, 2, something like that would be much better. That would be my preferred look. But so far, little sweep. Maybe it wants to go, but I'd rather we come back deeper down here. Seller at 400 still on the book. Decent size there. There's over 550 lots between 400 and then just above as well. We're looking good. Those of you who didn't know, Apex just started a new 80% sale. I'm not sure how long that's running. I didn't actually check. But code FCT will get you 80% sale. And of course, Tradeify is still running till the end of the month. All right, 30% off 25K, 100K, 150K accounts, and 35% off the 50K accounts. Remember, the best account, the best value in the market right now, from point of buying it to activation, is the growth account. That is the best value account, 50K growth account. 2-day flash sale on Apex, really? I saw the email last night, but I didn't open it. I was on a plane. Speaking of Apex, I finally got my first payout with them, Exister says. Congratulations. All right, maybe we're going to get this back test of this kind of key level down here now. Maybe it's going to come. I'm waiting right here. I'm waiting to see how we come to this RBS level. Remember, resistance, resistance, resistance. Does it become support with the deep pullback flow zones, with the VWAP somewhere into here? That's what we're waiting for. Being snipers, waiting. I don't want to chase this market. Hopefully it will drift deeper. If it doesn't, then we can think about buying the flag. But really, I would like this market to come deeper first. Apex is till the end of the month with the 80%. Thank you, Peter. There you go. So Apex with code FCT, 80% off until the end of this month. There's no monthly. Well, Andrew, it's up to you really. That you pay an activation fee. You can pay a one-time activation fee, or you can pay a monthly fee. That's up to you. I think the one-time at the moment is $125, unless you do the 250K account, and then I think it's $85 for life. I don't know what the monthly fee is. Probably like $85 a month or something. Fiona, I'm going to have a coffee and wait for the setup until I'm back. Take care, Exister. No worries, Andrew. Yeah, so we're just waiting here, team, letting this build out the liquidity. Right, I want to see it come and back test this. I'd like a 2-try or 2-leg pullback and a hold, something like this. That would be an ideal scenario. If it fails this, I'm not thinking about longs at that point. I'm thinking about, does this just chop back down? Ideally, a little back test to get long into would be ideal. Nvidia now 8.16% up, 8.20% up, 8.22, 8.30. This thing's just in a total run upside now on Nvidia. Really, really strong. Sorry, on Tesla. Can't read properly. Nvidia 2% up. Nvidia at that 120, that old key level. Tesla, sorry. That depends what type of buyer you are, Lyndall. Like if you're that kind of dip buyer, you could always put a limit there. Yeah. I prefer to see some structure come in. That's how I like to trade. I want to see momentum come back into the market rather than buy dips. I would buy dips if we're in a strong trend, right? If we're like this, then I don't mind like getting a little bit on here and adding more in that push up. Definitely trying to buy liquidity. We're either going to get a little flush and soak here or just to drive straight higher fast. I don't think it's going to hang around here for too long and go sideways. Well, I wouldn't think so anyway, given the H1 bar. So here we come. Maybe that flush back down. We need this H1 bar to pull down because I'm thinking about if H1 bar has any chance on moving higher today, it's going to have to build a flag. If we think about this H1, right, here was our last flag, H1. There's your inside and drive higher. We will need something again for that. All right, and then a failure here, we'd be thinking about down here. Right, this is why I'm very, very curious to see how we act here on the H1. So here it comes, coming into that back test kind of zone now. Remember, we've protected that gap so far. That grey box, old box, came right into it, protected it so far. Watching these VWAPs across the board, watching absolutely everything right now. Going to wait to see if momentum comes in the market. Remember, if momentum doesn't join into the market for upside, then I'm not going to join anything. All right, at least half of you not hit that like button yet. Come on, folks. Come on, folks. So finding a bid there, interestingly, very, very quick. Waiting to see if momentum's going to join in here. I still would like a tiny bit deeper. Maybe I'm just being fussy, but they're protecting 300 there. I'd still like a tiny bit deeper to form that inverse head. Yeah, Lyndall, have the key level, let it come to that level, and then let it form structure for you. Because there's no guarantee when it comes to that level that it has to go upside, right? So we wait now. Like, does momentum come back in, right? If they do something like this and they hold, it gives you the opportunity to buy here. You don't need to be buying here if you're the person that keeps guessing as it goes down. You see what I'm saying? Let it come to the key level. Let it show you that it wants to move higher, and then join once it curls. Right? Don't be joining bids here as it drifts down. I mean, some people will buy this. This is how they play it, and that's fine. It's just not how I play it. Some people will buy this back test into here. I like buying once momentum comes in. Sometimes I'll put a little bit on. All right, I might put a tiny bit of size on as a feeler. So into that VWAP here, New York VWAP. Sort of 50% move of this initial balance of the session so far. So are they going to find bids here for that drive into 400? Or is this going to be that sort of rollover? All right, if we start letting go of this, this is where it's problematic for the market. This area here needs to hold. These are where buyers came in this morning. They must hold that for any continuation higher. Failure to do so is opening up the gate for a move back down. Remember 9:30. Make sure this is correct here because I'm a bit worried. Yeah, okay, good. Key level here then, VWAP. ES finding a bit of a bid off its 20-day. Big levels here. These are the levels we want to see if it's going to hold for that drive high. ES finding a bid here. NQ trying to find a bid here. Still plenty of time for this to build out structure. How long have we got? 20 minutes till the initial balance. Here you go. So good reaction off VWAP there so far. So can this start to turn now? Are we going to drift higher now? ES having that first attempt for that move higher. Good bounce off ES there. Right on its 20-day. Still short-term bias here, just like the lower time frame is doing this right now, yeah? You can see under here. This is starting to fail, so we need to see if it's going to reclaim for that drift higher or not. So far, they're protecting that VWAP. They are protecting that VWAP. Oh, my Ninja Trader's gone nuts. It's now printing initial balance with these grey boxes on my screen. Ugh. Yeah, patience is your friend in this market and absolutely every market. There we go, fixed it. All right, so back into VWAP here. Like I said, short-term momentum right now is bearish. We've got to wait to see if they're going to hold these levels and pivot higher. So what I'm waiting to see, do bulls protect these levels for that pivot higher? Off the New York VWAP, off the 20-day on the ES. If not, they're going to roll it and fail. If not, you get a quasi, this kind of move here. But so far, I'm expecting this level here where buyers come in. I want this to hold for this move higher. That's what we're looking for. That's the bias, would be for this kind of play here, which is starting to play out off that New York VWAP. So you can see how important that anchor VWAP was. So nice shove here. Looking to see if ES is going to get going as well. And I also want to see the VIX start to fail. VIX starting to fail back down here. So is VIX going to create a bear flag for that drift back down? It's pulling back down towards low of day now. We're starting to build liquidity here nicely for that inverse shoulder like we talked about. If we get going here, we can have that move back into high of day, and then through high of day, we're looking for 350 and 400. So if we can get going here and build out that right shoulder right here, we want to see some liquidity built out. Pull back into this level like we talked about. Here comes the momentum. Can we build out liquidity to go now? Looks very, very strong here. Looks good. This is an M1 chart. Underneath it, I have a... Oh, yeah, sorry. You're looking at the... that's an M5, yeah, here. M5 and hourly. This is an M1. All right, looking good here. We want to see liquidity being built out here. So we'd want this next little pullback to come inside and hold, basically down to 300s. Don't want it to go deeper than 300s. So can this pull back and hold for a drift higher? So if this pullback to 300 holds, then we're thinking about that inverse right shoulder being built out for a move into 340, 350, and then high of day. ES at that 5,800. You'd want ES to make a new high here as well. What you don't want is a failed attempt to make a new high. That will be problematic for the market if you have a failed attempt to make a new high. Looking good here. That last pullback held. I want a bit more structure here being built out. Don't just go. Don't just go. Don't just go. Want a little bit more structure to be built out here. Should I look for longs? Yeah. What have I been saying for the last, since the market opened? Yes. We're looking for longs. We're not looking for shorts. Here we go then. Here's the shove. That last pullback held inside of 300 there, and it's going to just squeeze straight up. ES coming for high of day now. So you're looking for this move through the high of day into 350 and then 400s. You don't want to see a failed break of high of day, and you don't want to see divergence here where ES takes it and the NQ doesn't. So ES now high of day. Remember, spiders, you're looking for that drift into 573.75, that 200-day moving average. You do not want to see this have a failed breakout of the high of day. That will start to confirm more of a liquidity building stage here at the highs on the initial balance. Divergence here as ES took high of day. I want to see, is ES going to hold 5,800? I'm still janky on Ninja Trader here. It's making me think about not trading. What is going on? Looking for this long. Oh, come on, Ninja Trader. Start sorting yourself out, please. Looking for this long for that move up through high of day into 350. ES looking good here. That right shoulder now being built out here, as you can see. This is everything we talked about. All right, and we're looking to attack this, partial into this, 350, 400, and then the top of that gap fill possible if we get acceptance into this grey box, the gap. So you look good. It looks very, very good. Everything that we've talked about. We were prepared for this. We were talking about this move when we were here. We were talking about this move back down to retest this, build some liquidity out for a move higher. That's exactly what we were talking about all the way back here. All right, that's like half an hour ago we were talking about this move. Only thing I'd be careful here is the divergence, right? ES has created a new high of day and swept that liquidity. We have not done that on NQ yet, so I'd be very, very cautious here. If ES starts to fail, you'll get divergence start to play out. So it's okay to pay yourself a little bit of money here if you need to. I really think SPY is trying to get to that 200-day moving average. It wants to go and back test it. Initial balance is going to come here in 12 minutes as well. Still looking good. It can still pull back and hold here. Got to be very careful here as we start to buy like liquidity being built on lower time frame, because remember, we're actually up 360 points here from Friday's close. We have to remember that. So if it wants to build an inside initial balance, it can do this for the remainder of the day. It is open to do that. It would still be basing way, 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 way above the gap up. All right, which is all the way down here. All right, so if it needs to build liquidity out here, it's more than welcome to do that. So far, that micro inverse head and shoulder looking good. 11 minutes now left until we get the initial balance. Still protecting this old gap. Remember, we're thin in that gap. Once we get through or into that gap, we should be fairly thin. Feels like it wants to get going here, the market. In a hurry now to make a new high of day, it feels like. And maybe if we get through that, we can start getting explosive. Did it? Man, I'm getting weird prints on the Ninja. Long still looks good. Higher day coming here in the market. Through here, 350 and then 400s. Remember, 350, then 400s is what you're looking at. Yeah, my Ninja's effed up. And disconnect this again. Third time lucky. Let's see. Can I get some data here, please, Ninja Trader? Let's see if this lines up. There we go. There we go. That reset helped. All right, so very close to high of day here. You would expect this to come and take out this liquidity and use this for that drift into 350, 400. That's what you're looking for, all right? Don't buy the high. You should have been buying this, all right? Maybe you had a little bit on here or a little bit here or buying these dips, all right? Don't buy this high. We can now wait for a trend day to confirm. Trend day will be above initial balance high. You get a breakout, retest of the IB high, trend day. A failed auction will be a push above and a fail, and then we're going to come back down towards VWAP if we do that. Those are the options setting up for post initial balance. Post initial balance. Here's your high day coming right there. Bang. Just took it. So now you want to see if they're going to hold prints above these levels. All right, into that gap. That gray box, remember, is the old gap. We're looking to see if the market wants to respect that gap or fill that gap all the way to the top side. Some people selling in front of 350 there. Above that, you've got a drift into sort of 390. There's a little bit on the tape there, but there's a 450 lot up at 400. He's acting like a magnet right now. Scrooge, that's my trade for the day, betting on a failed auction play. Let the IB set and ride it back down to 50% of the IB range. Yeah, and the VWAP. Yeah, very, very possible. Very possible we can do that. We've had a nice drift higher. How long have we got left? 8 minutes until that initial balance is set. The hourly is looking very strong. 4 hours looking very strong. Again, this is the gap. This grey box. Old, new week opening gap. How we act in there is key. Right? How we act in that gap is key. There is liquidity higher for it to keep searching for. How many of you took this long play, though? Hopefully lots of you took this. We talked about it here, didn't we? RBS, New York VWAP, build liquidity. Did any of you get this long? I was in this long, but it's just data issues this morning. Lots of you got it. Good. Jake Knapp one, Andrew H, Christy. Took the long, great work. DPFTW, great work. Jesse M, capped. Peter, yeah. It was a nice long, wasn't it? It made sense. We're in a little bit of scalp mode and trying to hold runners for longs today because we're buying high. We are definitely buying high. That's what happens when we get big gap ups. We're in a gap and go right now. So play number one held, didn't it? Gap and go, retest the London high, hold, RBS, go. We're looking for gaps and goes, pullbacks and goes. Lovely work, team. Lovely work. Just letting this build out right now. Not looking to buy the high of day in front of that IB being set. Should already be on this long, but like I said, unfortunately having a few tech issues today. Yeah, Crawford, I'm risk off. I've barely made anything, mate. I've had attempts here and just I keep getting freezes and fills which aren't where price is. So there was, I don't know if it's my ninja now. I'm starting to like worry that it's not. But it was fine until we had that news candle, and then it just kind of went to poop, let's say, rather than swear on stream. It went to poop. It seems okay now, but now I've got the fear in me that I'm going to get a filled order which doesn't exist, which is what happened. Paul Gala, I made enough the last 2 months. Yeah, well, I just want to complete 5 trading days this week and take another payout. Just looking for a base hit week this week and take a payout this Friday from Apex. At least 10 of the accounts. Actually, a few of those might not be able to take another payout on. Or maybe if I get some money by Friday, we'll see. At least 8 of the accounts. Some of them I've taken payouts from and they're drifted below the threshold a little bit, so I have to be careful. Jaking up one. Boom. Just passed a new 75k. Great work. Scrooge, 5-minute orb played out with 100% win, but I've been using to snipe an options play this morning, trying to grow my cash account and pass compound simultaneously. Hey, that's not easy to do, growing multiple accounts at the same time if you're playing options. But yeah, the 5-minute orb played, didn't it? We talked about it down here. That was your orb. Pull back in and hold. This is the same thing we were looking for. Longs, 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 longs. Lots of reasons to get longs down here this morning. All right, how long we got now? 4 minutes until that initial balance. Remember how this trend has been built upside. Being quite efficient so far this morning, this market, not leaving too many gaps for us to look at, but it remains bullish. Hey, Marek, you're welcome. Thank you, buddy. Marek with the super chat. Appreciate it. That's my lunch money for the day. Tell you what, in Mexico City, that was paying for dinners and drinks. Such good value over there. I had a fantastic time in Mexico City over the weekend. Definitely going back. The food there is incredible. Really nice people. Love the culture. Architecture's great. Highly recommend a visit. Okay, so getting stuck at this gap. Right, let's think about this last pullback. Getting stuck at that gap so far, that grey box. How was the weather? It actually rained, drizzled a little bit one day, but it was fine. It was not too hot. It was cooler than it will be for the remainder of this week, like 20, 25s, something like that, 23 to 25s. Okay, let's see how long we got. 3 minutes left until this initial balance. Wondering if they pull this back to test 320 here. This kind of level. And do they hold this and go for one more drive? Above the IB, we can think about that trend day in this thin structure. Remember, there's not much volume in here from a technical standpoint. And we could test an old POC in there at 388. That's definitely a level I want to be aware of. 388. Just looking at H1 POCs. There's an old POC up there. Untested. Been to Cancun several times in May. I bet it's hot in May, Cancun, isn't it? Slightly different weather, like Mexico City. Yeah, I see that. Kraken bought Ninja Trader. I saw that. Crypto coming to the Ninja Trader space. Still holding well here, isn't it? Didn't even get to 320 here. How long we got left? 90 seconds or so until that IB is printed. So far, protecting the initial balance high. We're just going to have to see how this goes. I remain bullish on this until proves otherwise. We can go into a rotational day now. Just remember that. Your IB and IB high, IB low is probably going to be printed unless something changes drastically in the next second, which is possible. It might want to squeeze. Is here. Sorry, here. Can't really draw that very well, can I? So you're thinking about auctions above, failed auctions back inside, rotation days will be like this. Those are your rules, your initial balance rules. But we are so far in that sort of higher time frame pullback. All right, think about the daily. We're in a pullback on the daily. Yes, daily starting to break out to the upside, but it's going to form a higher low at a lower high at some point. Okay, so here's the IB. IB now set. All right, so we're either going to have that push and drive through the IB, and then we can think about auction or failed auction, or we're going to protect the IB like we are at the moment and do that pullback down towards probably 320s and see if they come in and try and bid off that 320. Failure to do that, and probably just going to go into a choppy day, and I'm going to be less and less interested. Like we said, London and Asia had a lot of fun today. They had all the big moves. Big moves. Remember, we are only in a 118-point range in the New York session. But if you look overnight, we have moved 375 points. All right, we're in a big shove up right now. Didn't even get to 320s there. We got close, 326. Looking at sort of this level here. All right, do we hold something here to go again? Buyers trying to step back in here. 325 buyer on the tape. Seller at 350 still. There's an 80 lot up there at 350, which would be above the high of day. Through that, you still got a big seller up at 400. Big seller up at 400. At least half of you still not slapped that like button. Come on, folks. I know it's been a slower start to a Monday, and I know I've had a few tech issues. Let's get that to 100 likes. Let's get this stream moving. Still inside the initial balance. ES coming and back testing where it broke out from. So ES doing that back test towards 5,800 now. Does it find a bid here? It's never got up to, I don't think the ES got up to, let's just check this 1 second. Let me just check this. What's this input? Missed that there. Sorry, trying to sort out my trading view screens here. So clear out of high of day here. Back into that gap. Into the initial balance. Everything holding so far in front of those 320s. ES found a bid off its RBS level that we were just talking about. So here's the big question here. Can they sustain an auction above the initial balance high? Or is this a push, a clear out of that initial balance high, and do they start rolling back down? Nice, Peter. Good work. Yeah, don't blame you. Not the. It's not bad action this morning, but it's just getting less and less nice for the longs right now. Location becoming worse and worse and worse by the second, even though momentum remains good. We're running out of low-hanging fruits to aim for. We're really looking for that gap right now, which we're trading into and protecting. So back down towards those 320s. So far, a failed break of the IB. Notice it was as well, NQ swept the initial balance, ES did not. We're not in bearish structure yet, though. Think about how we've moved this morning, right? This is really how we've moved. Right, so we are technically in bullish structure all the time we're holding this from like a 5 minute or something. Failure under this opens up more. One of you was looking for the failed auction. I could forget who it was for that trade back down. It's starting to look more and more probable here for that move back towards VWAP. 320s here, like we talked about. Yeah, the 5 minute and 15 minute looks like a big old level here, sort of 320s. Failure under that, you might get your VWAP move, your flush move back down. VIX finding a bit of a bid here, okay? VIX turning back upside, increasing a little bit of pressure onto the market here for a downside little sweep. Thank you. Coffee just arrived. 512 NQ, what software do I use for the live stream? Is there a delay? I use OBS. There's a 6-second delay. That is the smallest you can get. That's literally the smallest possible. That's all there is. It's that 320-ish trying to hold, like we talked about. Can it drive back upside here? Is this another flag to go upside, or is this a failed push here? So what is going to be key here now? Do they sell this versus the initial balance high? and start to look for that rotation back towards VWAP. These are the two plays setting up. It's either going to be a failed auction for this rotation down to here, and a failure under here will take us all the way back down. That'd be a deep drive down. Or it's going to be a hold and a drive. I'll get long if it can prove itself to me. I'm not getting long on dips here. I'm not convinced. After a big drive up, and we're inside the initial balance, not convinced right now. You have to do a little bit more. Crawford, I'm up 1,548, decided after my last blow up, I'm going to go for 200 a day. So I already broke my rules on day one. Well, now's a good time to stop then, isn't it? Now's a good time to stop. At least you're up, though. At least you're up. All right, so let's see what they do here. Either they hold these 320s like we talked about and go for an auction higher kind of day through the initial balance high, which is what I'd prefer, or they do that failed auction and they come right back down towards the New York VWAP, all the way back down sub 300. Those are the plays that are setting up right now. It's a little bit choppy here because we're up so much. Bulls won't want to buy super high in this session if they can avoid it. Tesla almost 10% up now on the day. That thing's having an absolute screamer. Structure remains bullish like we talked about. But both ES and NQ not through their IB highs yet. There was divergence when NQ did do a sweep. ES failed to do the sweep. This is looking very, very strong here to come and drive higher right now. ES not through its IB yet. NQ not through its IB yet. Do they build liquidity here for another sort of inverse look? Failure to take the IB high out is going to open up that rotation back down towards VWAP. All right, failure to take this out will open up this move here. If they take this out and base, has the potential to go higher. No worries, Tyson. Hope the surgery goes well. Hope that goes well. Starting to get a bit choppy up here. Remember, the range tightened up today. Right, New York session, 118-point range. That's all we've got right now. Range has tightened up. Failing to get above that initial balance high right now. Still holding flow zones, but failing to get above the IB high. These are the key levels here. Remember where we started breaking out from. This, does it do this for one more drive, or has it had enough after a huge, huge move up? Look at the hourlies. All right, they're big candles, big moves up on the hourlies, protecting the old gap so far. Showing an unwillingness to break that IB high right now. I like the structure better of ES at the moment. It's looking a little bit better. What's the VIX doing? VIX back down towards low of day. Not too bad. There's the drift down. ES starting to get a little heavier here. Is the market due a little bit of pullback after that morning shove? Do we just go into a choppy range for the rest of the session? Very, very possible here. Remember, we're just inside of initial balance. That sort of indicates a choppy rest of the day until it proves otherwise, right? We can be in a rotational day inside IB until it proves otherwise. It will have to prove otherwise here. So that initial balance starting to try and stay heavy here and rotate. This is the sort of key level we talked about though, isn't it? The 320s. Decision time coming up in this market. Just letting this do what it wants for now. Protecting the 320s. ES, like I said, it looks a bit better. The structure it's building out looks a little bit cleaner. Yeah, Tesla's up 9.35% right now. But it was due a bit of relief given the selling which had come into it this year. 5-minute structure is still bullish here. 15-minute structure is still bullish. Hourly still bullish. Nothing yet indicating going lower other than a possible initial balance rotation. Still absorbing these levels. Remember, this is where we broke out from. It's still absorbing into this, like we talked about. This is still the structure until it proves otherwise. The only trade that you can fade right here would be if you're an IB trader trying to try to fade back down to there. You'd be going against lower time frame trend. That's the only trade if you're an initial balance trader. Other than that, you should be still thinking about longs until it proves otherwise. Just location is not very, very good right now. Not very good location for longs right now, unfortunately. Definitely still that seller at 400. He's still up there. Well, screws. NQ already did break the IB high and come back inside. ES didn't do that move. But NQ has actually technically done that. It's already swept everyone and come back inside. Oh, I'll have to check that. I wonder if there's... Sounds like everyone's done a load of updates today. Let me see that. No, that's... I will update that later. There must be some sort of bug on that system, Miguel. Sorry about that, my friend. I had no idea since I was away. I'll get into that as soon as we finish this session. I'll have a look at that for everyone. All right, so potential flag here is going back towards that IB high. Remember, either auction or failed auction here. Targets for auction are 350 for that break, and 400 is where that big seller is. Just chopping around here, building liquidity. Not much we can do here right now. Market just taking a bit of a breather after such a big run up. Not really surprising, is it? Almost 400-point run up. It's going to take a bit of a breather before it decides the next move. Hourly remains bullish. 5-minute remains bullish. 15-minute is remaining bullish. The question is there a fail here on a 5-minute, a push and fail? Or do we just continue, break of structure higher and remain bullish? Those are the questions right now. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, still looks good, still absorbing. This back test level. Market's still bullish in terms of structure. The only thing is that initial balance. But in terms of structure, the market remains bullish here. I cannot say that enough. If you're looking for the rotational play, you are counter trend technically. Doesn't mean it can't happen. You just got to know your type of setup here. So here's the drive one more time, trying to take out the IB high by the looks of it. And then see if they can get to 400. Trying to flag here and go, isn't it? It's trying to clean out and go. And then how it uses the liquidity at this point is key. All right, so here's the curl. All right, up towards 400 is the target. It's big, needs to clear this out and get up here. Failure to do that, and we can use this liquidity later in the day for that move downside. Or if it just does this, you'll move it, use it sooner. NQ in a hurry here, so NQ with relative strength now. New low of day here on the VIX. Everything lining up for a shove through this high of day and then have to see how they react. Can it get up towards 400? That's what you should be asking yourself right now. Is there a way for this market to move up towards 400? If it can break the IB high, can it sustain a bid to move up towards 400? Or is it going to protect the IB high and just like sort of flush all the way back down to the VWAP? Those are the questions. IB high, auction versus failed auction. Those are the theories that are playing out right now. Auction versus failed auction. So far failing to get through this IB high, remember. Still protecting that IB high, still protecting this gap, the grey box. This is a boring day. ES looking good. It's coming to back test and try and get through its IB high right now. ES wants to get through it. Banging into it real soon here on the ES by the looks of it. So here goes the ES. Clearing it out now. Does it sustain an auction or is it a clear out and a failure? And if it can sustain an auction, can the NQ join it? Big low of day here on the VIX. Surprised that NQ is not really participating here. A little snap there on the VIX. So divergence here in the market. ES breaking out the IB high. VIX going low of day. NQ not able to follow yet. Maybe it's going to get going in a second. It's trying. It's desperately trying. There's IB high. Still not taking high of day. Remember, high of day is a little bit higher here. Into 50 and 55s, into that grey box we are. Remember, your location gets worse and worse and worse as we drift higher here in the market. There's the break. High day now broken. Still looks good here. Still sustaining bids here. Volume starting to come in now. So do all pullbacks hold now? Are we going for 400? That's kind of the question now. Are we going for 400? So let's see if pullbacks above IBH or into IBH hold now or fail. Now you've got a good clear out. Now we can think about a trend day, fill in this gap, or a failure day. So far, like I said, everything remains bullish. 5 minutes bullish, 15 minutes bullish, hourly's bullish. Everything's bullish until proves otherwise. Every pullback soaking to go higher right now. That will change if we start failing underneath these levels, okay? If we get stuck, and we start failing under here, then we can think about the rotation more. No, I don't, Jimbo. I don't think he's a spoofer. I think he's legit because he's been there all day. He was there pre-market. Tom, you can just draw it on 930 to 1030 level. If you've got my flow zone indicator, which comes with the course, you can. Everything's automatic. This is all automatic. But you can just draw it on each day. It's your high, the highest high that you print between 9:30 and 10:30, and the lowest low that you print between 9:30 and 10:30. Still building liquidity here so far. All right. SPY right into its 200-day SMA. Remember, this was the target I talked about. This is why I don't like getting along here too much. We're coming into the SPY 200-day moving average here. Sellers will start or longs will start selling some of their position into that. If we get acceptance above that, it's a whole different ball game. All right, we can get a continuation squeeze higher at that point. But this level here, this 200-day moving average, is a huge, huge level on the higher time frames. This is the back test. Still building though. Look, every back test now holding. IB high still holding. So maybe a new flag here on the IB high, potentially setting up. We're a little extended from the flow zones for my liking. And I don't like that we're right at the 200-day moving average on the SPY. I really don't like that. We get acceptance above that, and I think we can get going. Some selling here in front of that 200-day. They're getting nervous about that 200-day, believe me. And I don't blame them. If we get acceptance above it, then a bigger squeeze is on here in the market. Yeah, he did just leave. I want to see if he comes back on here. And I want to see if he's selling now because we're selling into that 200-day if he starts marketing in down here. So I'm watching. Like we said, structure's still bullish, but your location's getting worse and worse and worse. Remember, we were buying this morning down here and down here. Now we're buying, 100 plus points higher right now. Not ideal. Location now, not ideal. SPY still cannot get through that 200-day moving average. Quick look at the mag. Tesla 9.32% up. Nvidia 3.5% up. Meta 3.5% up. Google 2% up. Amazon over 3% up. Microsoft only 0.25% up, and Apple 0.81% up. So they're definitely selling into that 200-day moving average. That back test of that level was key, like we talked about. I'm slightly concerned about thinking about any more longs here if they're going to keep selling into that. If it gets acceptance above it, better. So here's your back test of the IB high. I'm not buying this. Technically, you should be buying this from that standpoint, but I don't like the location of the SPY now. So I might kick myself for not buying this, but I just don't like it that they're selling into that 200-day moving average. This can be a failed auction if they want to. The fact that they didn't actually get into it and they're selling in front of it as well. I want to see how ES operates here. VIX at low of day and ES pulling back here. Now VIX finding a bid. Okay, maybe it's just taking a minute to show up. I'm just waiting here. Structure's still bullish. Trying to be patient. Trying to be very, very patient here. They're adding liquidity above now into like smaller chunks and smaller lots, like 35 and 50 lots. From like 353 or 360, sorry, all the way up to 420. ES coming for that back test of IBH. Structure remains bullish, but stuck underneath the 200-day moving average on the spiders. We're still stuck in this gap on the Qs, but we're currently at the IBH. So failure under here, maybe we start shifting to go for that inside move. But again, we haven't taken out that 200-day on the spiders. It's the one thing. I want to see it like sort of almost tap above it and fail if I'm going to think about a short. Structure-wise, we're still in a long. To think about this, we're just in a channel right now. We have a little 5-minute imbalance here, which we're starting to fill. If we fell beneath that, maybe there's more downside room. 338, 340 sort of key. If we can hold that, it's okay. It's okay to move higher, I'd say. Is there a reason why today is so bullish? Well, technical breakout. We ran all the stops from that, like, what, 2-week consolidation of range. And also over the weekend, you had news starting to come out of the White House that the tariffs are not going to be like as strong as originally stated on April 2nd, etc., etc. And I think we talked about that a few weeks ago. If they sort of retract a lot of these tariffs, we've priced them all in, then we get squeeze higher because shorts start covering, which is what you've probably seen this morning. So you get a technical rebound because, you know, we traded 14% down in just a matter of weeks, which is a huge, huge fall on the Qs. So you get a rally off that. Still holding that IB high for now. ES not fully back tested it yet, or maybe it did almost to the wick. Yeah, pretty much. So do we fail now? These are the questions. Are they going to hold these bids here? Like we said, that sort of 5-minute imbalance down to sort of 40. Failure under that, like a big candle closure under that, I'd be worried that we've trapped buyers at the highs at that point. Lots of volume being built up here now as well. 330 now, point of control on the day. So lots of volume built up here. Lots and lots and lots. Still holding that imbalance here on the 5 minutes. Still holding that 440s. 440s, 340s, sorry. So structure still bullish here. ES still printing above its IB high. Slight divergence here in the market. VIX still just basing out towards its lows. If there is a failure to make a new high here soon on this market, it will get nasty. All right. If they trap too many buyers up here, it will do a big old shove down, back down towards the VWAP. That would we'd then go into a rotational day. Right. If it fails to make a new high and clean these guys out, this becomes more and more probable. If they trap buyers up here. If they keep holding structure, Then we're just in trend day up. New hourly candle here as well. All right, so new hourly candle here. So far, every hourly candle has just printed higher highs and higher lows. That's all we've done. Just expansion, 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 running higher, 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 higher. That's so far what we're seeing. So here we go. Buyers starting to get stuck here. Watching God, I can't get my words out. Watching the 340s. I'm watching the 340s here. It's a big level. Watching ES into IB high if they're going to absorb this or not. Yeah, rising wedge. That's basically what I was just drawing here. This thing here. But there's the view up if they're going to fail this, but they can peak above and fail as well. ES is still holding its initial balance high, so I don't love anything downside yet until it confirms. We're still in bullish order flow from a technical standpoint. The only thing that will fail is if we start getting stuck here and these buyers become pop sellers. Until then, order flow remains bullish. Can keep going higher if it really wants to. ES is printing above its IB high. It's about to print a new high of day here if it can get going. So like we said, you will need to see a shift. You'll need to see a fail to make a new high of day, which is starting to come here. Here we go. So here's the 340s that was absorbed very, very quick. Back down to its RBS levels, especially on the ES. There's quite a big volume there on that shove. Just want to see if there's any news hitting, because now I know that my Discord news is stuck. Trump posting on Truth Social 15 seconds ago. I don't know what this is. Looks like something about some video about Hillary Clinton he's just posted. I don't know. But that got absorbed on the ES and it's starting to get absorbed here on the NQ. Big volume here, big sell, straight absorbed. Hey Noah, good morning. So order flow still bullish here. They might have trapped some shorts there on that last flush down and encouraged them to get in. If they're going to absorb this and print new high of day here, those shorts are going to get exploited. But we have to see how this shakes out. That was news from Trump posting on Truth Social. It's absolutely wild that we moved to him posting like a video on Truth Social. They're chopping around here at the IB high. Feels and looks like shorts are a little stuck there. That last wash down got absorbed very, very quickly. Like I said, the structure of ES looking much better. So basically, this is what's happening for absorption to go higher right now. Remember, still sellers on the tape. 360, 370, 380, 390, 400, 420. That's where the sellers are up above looking to get filled. That's all inside of, think about this, it's all in this gap. We know that I think I said 388. Was that an old point of control? Where's this level? 388, yeah, big level up there. This hourly candle traded back inside, found a bid there off point of control, 330. All right, the hourly candle found a bid off that point of control, drifted down, found a bid very, very quickly. All right, so bulls remain in control here until it proves otherwise. Do not be guessing tops in this market right now. Bulls are still in control. It become clear and obvious if and when they let go. Drifting higher, continues to drift higher. Trend still intact. All right, if these shorts get cooked, we do a little short squeeze up here. Failure to make a new high, that's when the buyers get stuck. There's the new high. So new high here on the NQ. ES following here. So 400, remember, is the level that we think the market can drift towards if it really wants to get going. 400. If we do a fail breakout and turn inside, then we think about what next. SPY now at that 200-day moving average. This is the key level here. Does it get acceptance above this 200-day moving average? Structure remains bullish. Remember, structure is still bullish, still drifting higher. It's looking to fill this gap. It's looking to fill this old imbalance right now into the 400. That's what it's trying to do. Here we go. Big old squeeze up here in the market. So this trapped all the shorts, right? They came in here, got trapped. Structure, like we said, was still bullish. Until proves otherwise, it would need to be under here for me to really think about a short. Need to be underneath structure. So currently, upside move, upside move, upside move, all day long, upside move. And the SPY back above its 200-day, right? Back above its 200-day right now. Market in a hurry. Sellers on the tape here. 380, 385, 390, 400, 420. Filling this old gap. We get through this old gap, we can look at these old highs. 500 is a level we can look at. And then 730 is a level we can look at. That would be major, major relief on the market anywhere up there. I'm watching very closely the SPY and its 200-day here. I want to see if there's like a look above and fail above that 200. Look at every RBS level right now. They're trying to soak and soak and soak. At some point, you got to think they're going to give a little bit back and run some of these guys out. The question is if and when it's today. If it's today and when it happens today, if they're going to do it. Technically, you're in a trend bullish day here. If we're holding prints above the IB high, technically you're in a trend bullish day here. Still has time to produce that failed auction and come back inside. Of course it does. Of course it still has time to do that. Watching the SPY and the 200-day, that is absolutely key here. If they're going to hold that 200-day, they can really cause more pain here and drift upside. Where can that go? I'm going to have to look on the spiders here. 575.60 is possible if they're really going to get going. Yeah. Everything holding up so far. 200-day test here. Watching this carefully. Watching to see if they absorb this now on the 200-day test on the ES. Still lots of liquidity higher, lots of sellers higher looking to get filled right now. Lots of people trying to drag this market higher right now looking to get filled. The question is, can they do it? Everything just looks like flag after flag after flag after flag after flag. Grinding higher today rather than explosive moves. Very hard to participate as a buyer or when we do these kind of moves, because we're what, 406 points up, right? Capping up since Friday. It's not a good location to be a buyer in. It really is not. That buy was this morning. Starting to see some selling try and come in here on the tape, but again, they're still selling up high. They're still trying to drag it up high, but I'm wondering if this is some momentum shift starting to happen. Watching this 200-day now. I want to see this 5 minutes, see how we close. Are we going to close heavy? Structure is still bullish till proves otherwise, but there's potential underneath here for a wash back down to VWAP if it really wants to do it. If that's a look above the 200-day and they start letting it go, and I watch this IB, and then I'm going to watch IB to VWAP. If there's big ifs here, right? If we're going to do it, if we're going to do it, if we're going to trade and get stuck underneath here and run for these stops, I can think about that short, but until then, I can't really think about it. Because still, there is sellers up here looking to get filled, trying to pull the market up into them right now. And we're above the initial balance high. So from a technical point of view, we're in a trend higher day. Hard to be a buyer up here when we're 400 points higher, though. Hard to think about that. Just going to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. All right, still not much change. Failed to make a new high here on that last run up. Still holding that 200-day SMA on the SPY. Starting to trade sideways. If we start trading underneath the initial balance, though, then that rotation starts to become more and more probable. All right, so watching very, very carefully here to see if there's a lack of acceptance above that 200-day on the SPY. Technically, we are in a trend higher day above the IB high until it proves otherwise. The sellers up above still looking to get filled. Like we said, can fill this gap all the way up here if it wants. Lots and lots of sellers here starting to stack up. They want to get filled between 370 and 400. It's a big move on the daily chart, this. Big old move. Starting to struggle a bit here, isn't it? You can see it's starting to struggle a bit here. Let me check the ES back test levels. Still got a little further to go here. Trading view. Every time I change charts now, it's got an issue. You would have thought they'd fix that with the update. Andrew H, night screen day heading out. Appreciate you. Hey, you're welcome. CC, can you tell me about the Tradeify 150k straight to sim funded? Which account would you recommend? Well, if you're a good trader and you know what you're doing, then you might as well do the 150k straight to sim funded. Yeah. You got a 20% consistency rule if you do that. So just be aware about that. They have 2 windows to get paid out from, but they'll pay you out within hours, maybe even quicker. Very, very good service. You can have up to 5 of those accounts, and on your 4th payout, they move you to live. I think that's right. 4th payout, they move you to live. So if you use code FCT, it would get you 30% off that right now. They are really good. You just got to take base hits though. Yeah, because it's 20% consistency rule. So basically split your profit into 5 days. Just try and with 150k, be going for 1,000 a day, 5 days in a row, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Unless you're trading bigger size. But just try and be consistent. But there's no rules with DCAs. You can move any size. You can move from micros to minis, nothing like that. But the only thing you need to be aware of is that 20%. If you have a big, big day, it's going to make it hard for you. It just means you've got to trade longer. But I really like them as a service, really good. Their back end is also very, very good. Lots of liquidity being transitioned here. Bit of a battle here. You can see it on the tape, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Jostling around here for position. Still looks good higher from a technical standpoint. We are still in trend high. We are still above the initial balance high. Okay, we're still above the IB high. Think about the moves today. Think about the moves. All right, structure is still bullish until it proves otherwise. The structure is bullish. There is a draw up here. It might want to fill this gap up here if it really wants to get going. All right, we will think about shorts if that structure starts to change. Right now, it's being very efficient. There's only that old 5-minute gap, which is still down at 340. I don't know why I keep saying 440. Still down at 340, and it's still holding it. We had one swipe through it, but never closed underneath, and it still remains bullish. This structure is very, very bullish right now. It's in squeeze play upside. Market's in relief. VIX is hitting a new low of day. It's not something I want to short yet, and it will need to prove to me that it wants to roll over for me to even think about shorting. Remember, as soon as I got to the charts today, we were talking about longs. And where were we talking about longs to? Into this gap. Low-hanging fruit, this gap, 400, 420, 430 top side of this gap. Once we fill that gap, we've got efficiency done. Then we're looking at higher time frame levels of liquidity. 515, 720, 950-ish, basically. Not saying it does that today, but those are the upside moves if it sustains bids over the coming sessions. If it sustains bids. Let's just see here, folks. Let's see. Market failing to make a new higher here. You'd expect it to drive up and sweep all this leveled out, really. Again, I'm going to be honest, I'm a little frustrated having these tech issues early in the day. Like, we called all of this out. We wanted this long, we wanted this long, we wanted this long. Here I became a little less interested, to be honest. But these were easy money. I should be in these long holding monies, but not much you can do when Trade Ovate / Ninja start acting up. There's not much I can do about it. I just have to be risk off and wait. Just unfortunate. It happens sometimes. But lots of you should have made money. Long bias until proves otherwise. If this is ready to fail, we will grab it, all right? If we get that failed auction, come back down, start letting go of everything, we can think about the short. Ideally, that happens after it's taken out lots of higher time frame levels. Some selling coming into the market here, failing to take out the highs, but we have to be patient here. There's no flip of structure. We're just drifting back down to an RBS level that it can hold. Remember, we broke out from here. Broke out from here. It's still holding. All right, technically, we'd need to get under here, but I don't mind joining earlier if it's going to really prove itself to me. Left some liquidity up here, though. SPY starting to drift back down towards that 200-day. I'm really interested in how we operate here. We've been basing around here for 5, 10, 15 minutes so far, watching this 5-minute candle. If this 5-minute candle closes beneath strongly on the SPY, then I'll consider how we might act for the rest of the session. But so far, it's absorbing. It's got 2 minutes left in this 5-minute candle. Starting to feel like they might start letting go of this, though, just looking at the SPY, but too early to call that move yet. Structure remains bullish. Can drift up to 400, like we said. There you go. Soaked off that 200-day again. Probably lots of shorts tripping over themselves here a little bit in this session. Can't imagine there's too many buyers interested up at these levels. Starting to get a little bit frothy on the daily, but who knows? If we build out liquidity long enough, who knows? But probably this move here probably caught shorts. Probably piled in as they saw this, and it was just a little Trump piece of news, and we printed upside. So that forces these guys to cover. Now we've got this level here. If they came in here again, these guys cover, and we keep doing it over and over and over until it's exhausted and there's buyers trapped, and then maybe we go back down for everything else. I don't know. How long we got until lunch? Half an hour left till lunch. VIX finding a little bit of a bid here. Nothing major, but it's starting to base out here. Still holding flow zone, still above that IB high. Once that changes, we can think about something else. Still holding that 200-day. That 5-minute close right on that 200-day again on the SPY. If they start letting go of this with a kill candle, then you know the buyers are trapped above the 200-day. That's what I'm watching. Then I'm going to watch that IBH and that Newswick low and how we operate in and around there. So either bear trap here or they're going to let it go. Decision time for the market, I think, soon. Do they start to let this go? Kind of a slow day, really. Well, we called it really well, but kind of slowed down a bit here. Like I said, momentum has been upside, but location's getting worse and worse by the second. Just like chopping around here, building liquidity for the next move. How many of you caught the longs? How many of you been like managed to hold all the way up here above the IB high? I'm interested. The move that we talked about pre-market. Starting to see a bit more selling here. This is a bit more aggressive beneath that 200-day. Starting to potentially trap longs above that 200-day now. So wondering if there's a rotation coming up here soon. If they rotate, what are the levels we think about? Well, IB high becomes key. If we get under that, we're thinking about this level, this level, this level. All right, do we get failures down to sweep some of these people out? Remember, buyers, if buyers are trapped here, if they become pop sellers, we might sweep some of these out. That 200-day really starting to sell now. So print above it numerous times, trap buys above that 200-day on the SPY, that back test, above it and selling down off it now. So watching IB high here. Do they soak IB high? Do they let it go? Do we go rotation straight down to VWAP? Watching these levels here to potentially start thinking about counter trend, rotational play. Looking good here. Is into IB high. So watching liquidity pools here. 330, 315, anchor VWAP 313. Do we get that move down in and around there? Beautiful. Starting to fail here a little bit heavier. ES not quite at its IB high yet. All right, ES not quite there yet. Into those deep pullback flow zones. Do we start to flush here now? Do we get a rotation underneath? Watching ES very, very closely as it's coming back into levels of potential support. I'm watching the NQ starting to let go here, looking for rotation lower right now. Structure remains bullish on like a 5 minute. I'm watching that old 5 minute imbalance, right? We whipped through it on that news candle. We're trying to absorb off it right now. If we start letting go of that old 5 minute balance and the 5 minute flow zones, then I think there's a deeper drive in this. If we keep absorbing it, then it might not happen. So back down to structure, trying to find a bid. Don't like these. The one thing I don't like is these equal highs here. This is like really clean here. Not very pretty. Very easy to run those. This would have been better if it had done this. That would be a better play. If this move through here had been clean and aggressive. So holding those deep pullback flow zones, holding that 5 minute imbalance for now. Starting to lean a little bit more bearish bias, watching if we reject this 200-day on the retest here, basically on the on the SPY. Ifs and buts. I know lots of ifs and buts. But the market's being very, very efficient in how it's working right now. Do we start to reject 60s here? If we start to reject 60s here, then we're going to start to move into a lower time frame downtrend. So starting to action here versus VWAP potentially. Versus VWAP versus flow zones. All right, so if we start to reject here, I'm trying to draw this in while it's happening. I'm going to miss my entry. Right, if we start to do this, there's your bear flag starting to play out now. Oh, as soon as I go to draw it in, miss my entry. There you go. Me helping you over me helping myself. So nice bear flag there, starting to break down now. Watching ES into the IBH. Watching this 5 minute imbalance as we tap into it again. 37. So I'm just measuring out on the H1 potential plays. So looking for a continuation lower here. Can we come and sweep some of the liquidity out? I missed my entry there. It was a really clean entry here. Think about this, trap buyers. What's that? SBR, right? Support becomes resistance into flow zones, bear flag, breakdown. Nice clean trade there that I missed while I was trying to teach it to you. ES coming back down, SPY coming back down into and around the old structure here and the IBH. These become key for the remainder of the day, right? If we're going to let go of this 5-minute imbalance and get a strong close underneath, then we can think about that move back down to the New York VWAP and these levels. Yeah, into these levels. That's what we can think about. Nice, Tyson. VIX starting to base out a bit here. If VIX starts to break, it really needs to get back above 1830s. Then we get a deeper wash in this market. Basically, we have to decide now if this market's going into a failed auction and rotational play, or if it has the ability to auction higher after this like last little wash down, and that's enough. All right, are we holding? Technically, remember this low created this high, so technically we're inside of this range here. And we've only got just under half an hour left until lunch as well. Still protecting that 5-minute imbalance for now. All right, look at the 5-minute candle from, what was this, 10:50 this morning? Still protecting that so far. Engulfing candle where we drove up. These guys here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this drive up here, still protecting this swing low, still protecting this level where we broke out from for now. Yes, still above its IBH, not fully back tested. It's still holding key levels here. But the SPY is under its 200-day. VIX back to lower day, not what you want to see if you're thinking about holding runners here to go any further. We're just in a strong channel. We talked about this channel all day long. This is all we're in right now. Channel. Leaving liquidity so far for the day, both sides. Don't like the divergence on the tape here with the VIX. VIX at low of day. Yes, not at an extreme right now. Don't like that. Market drifting upside here while VIX is at low of day. So maybe just a delayed muted reaction here as VIX drifted down. Just want to see how we operate here. Here we go. That's what I'm saying. I didn't like seeing that VIX at low of day, and then the market started getting going a good minute afterwards. And we have left liquidity up here. Remember, like we said, we've left liquidity up here and here. Technically, this is the swing low that created this high. Technically, we still remain bullish from a technical standpoint. The 5-minute, again, the 5-minute held what we talk about. This imbalance here, the 5-minute is absorbing it. If we start failing into here, there might be the build of this. Okay, but technically, we're bullish until proves otherwise. This was a nice trade, right? For a scalp play down. We have to see how we operate here. I do not like this flat top and this. I don't like how it's built both those in. Makes it more of a 50-50. Once one side's taken, it's going to be much cleaner. We're coming into and around lunch now as well. Possibly they start protecting these highs. VIX new low of day. This is the one thing I don't like. If I was thinking about a short here versus that level, what I wouldn't like is what I'm seeing on the VIX. Yeah, if you were thinking, yeah, I'm going to look for a creation of a shoulder and a rejection of this, what I don't like is the VIX at low of day. That makes me feel a little uneasy right now. You'd want to see VIX trading upside. This looks good. Like how it's setting up looks good. Everything looks good. It's that VIX is right now. But maybe we start playing here. Maybe this is going to start to play out that head and shoulder quasi. We have to wait and see. VIX, you so ugly, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? Big divergence. Okay, if we break down here, that's going to be our first lower high and lower low set if we start breaking down here. Strong rejection on the SPY as it drifted above the 200-day and got hit fairly hard there on the SPY. Here we go. So starting to sell now. That's that break of structure. Can we get continuation into VWAP? Can ES join and come underneath its IB high? Can we get that drift lower? Come and clean out some of these levels. There we go. ES back towards its IBH here. So we're looking to see if they get a selling continuation underneath IBH, if they've trapped buyers. Oh my God, am I not going to fill? Oh, technicals continue. When you were talking about the 200 EMA earlier, what chart do you have that on? I was looking at the 200-day SMA on the SPY. Talked about it all day long. 200-day moving average on the SPY. We printed above it for 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then we failed. We've trapped buyers above that so far. ES back into its IB high here. Big levels here, big decision times on the market here. Are we going to go into a rotation back down towards VWAP, or does ES find a bid here? You can see we've moved into a sell pattern. You can see the difference. Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows on the lower time frame. Can we get a close here? How long we got left? 40 seconds left to close under this 5-minute imbalance, which is starting to look more probable here, which will give us downside action, which is what we're starting to see. All right, so then we're going to attack into here. These are the liquidity pools. Can we get into 15s, basically? This guy here, what's this, 28? And then 15s, and then VWAP, and then lower. So they're almost taking the first level, very close. What is it, 28? We got very close there, didn't quite take it. I expect that to get taken at some point. Don't really want to see a double bottom down there. You would expect it to get taken, but just like the highs, it left some clean liquidity at the highs as well, didn't it? So you want to see this pullback up here get sold into. That's what you want to see if you're thinking about that rotation to VWAP. Be very careful because ES is holding its IB high. 20 minutes till lunch. We are underneath the point of control for this session, which has basically been created into 40. So you want to see this point of control basically stay heavy. This drive up, you want to see them sell into it. If you're thinking about that rotation day back down into VWAP and below, they will need to sell this if that's what you're thinking. Man, I cannot get fills today on NinjaTrader. starting to cause tilt in me. I'm going to be honest. It's definitely starting to cause tilt in me. I'm starting to get really pissed off that I'm missing trades today. Looking for a push to see if they sell into. Right, looking for a push for some form of bear flag continuation. If they reclaim this, shorts are off the table. If they reclaim this level, right, you do not want them to reclaim these levels up here. They reclaim that, then a squeeze is on. Anything up here, a squeeze is on. Aaron, I think I saw it, but I didn't read it properly. I'll have a proper look at that. Thank you, mate. Might need your help to go over it and understand how to do that. So I want to see if they reject point of control here, if they reject that last kill candle down, if they form a bearish continuation, or if this was just a little trap. The fact that they didn't sweep seems odd. You'd expect the market to come down here and sweep that level of liquidity on this swing low down here. It didn't quite get there, and I don't think ES got there either. So you want to see if sellers come back into the market here for a move lower. That's what I'm looking for. Do sellers come back into the market here for that rotation move lower? If they don't come back into the market for the move lower, then we're thinking about squeeze. But right now we're thinking about that bear flag continuation, which is starting to play out here. Thank you very much. Finally get a fill. Don't pull straight back up after filling me. All right, looking for a break of structure here for that move down, and then we're going to attack all the way down towards VWAP. So we want to see this double bottom taken out into 28s, and then we want to see that move into 315s. All right, we need this bear flag continuation lower here. That's what I'm looking for. Especially if ES starts failing VWAP, and then we can think about a trade all the way down into 272s if it's really going to do it. Here we go. Lovely. All right, there's TP1 taken. Can we keep going here? So TP2 into 313. Finally, Alex gets a trade. TP2, 4 down into 274. You should have taken a little bit off there at TP1, just in case they want to trap. You did just about sweep. Did we sweep? Wow. Again, I'm getting different prints on trading. I don't understand this. This should be impossible. They're both pulling data from CME, and I'm getting different prints here. Trying to be patient. I definitely get tilty when tech does this stuff. It annoys the hell out of me. Why am I getting a different print when it's centralized data? Come on. Still looks good for the move lower here, folks. Just be careful. Make sure you're locking some profit in towards that low like we talked about. It needs to protect that IB high. That needs to stay heavy. You want to see ES start to let go of the IB high as well. Right now, it's sitting right on it. All right, you want to see ES let go of that. And then you want to take partials down. Remember, we're not in trend day lower. All right, we're in rotational day. So it might just trade down to here and no more. That might be the end of it. Make sure you're locking in. This is probably going to be the last trade I get of the day. Because if bulls step back in, they've still got that gap fill above to take to fill this grey box. All right, so just be careful here. But we've finally started to roll like we talked about. All right, that was the play. You're looking for this now. Looking for a continuation lower now. If it reclaims the IB high, then you should not be interested in touching it at that point. If it starts to reclaim up here. ES still holding its IB high. So you have got divergence there. So one thing I'd be a bit cautious about here. Yes, it's still holding that IB high. Remember, the main play is for it to gap fill higher. There's a buyer on the tape here at 300. He's looking for a wash down to 300 to get filled. Only a 50 lot. He's just come on the tape. Why am I worried about the IB high? Because if we do this move, all right, if this is a sweep here and we do this move, this can do that. But until then, I'm thinking about this play down here. At this point, maybe upside potential. What is going on? What was that? Anyone see that? Volume printing at the highs. Mate. Come back from holiday to just tech nightmare. Absolute tech nightmare. It's consolidating, yeah. It's building liquidity. Short time, lower time frame, my bias is lower. Higher time frame, my bias can still be to fill that gap. But really, I think we've got one more sort of shove down here, but it just depends if it wants to do it or not. The way it's building the highs and lows, I really don't like. It's leaving so much like equal levels of liquidity. It's really not very pretty. ES holding its IB high. I do not like that either. VIX breaking back down towards IB low. I do not like that either. Do not like how this is starting to operate. Need to see if they sell versus this IB high now on the NQ. And if they don't, like we said, that inverse head and shoulder on the microstructure can start to play out. Until then, we're still thinking about lower. Still thinking about lower right now. Yeah, my tech's on vacation. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's just so frustrating, man. Like, also, why does TradingView update without giving you the option? Like, hey, I don't want to update. Can you just like leave my stuff alone, please? I'm quite happy with how you work. I don't really want you to just change everything so I come to the screens on a Monday morning and everything's different. So repricing into here, this little imbalance. If we think about this as a pullback, this is still looking good for now. 50% pullback. And can they sell this? Can they sell this lower? Here we go. Fantastic. They're still holding this, still looking for lower prices here. Never reclaim the IB high, remember. Looking for a breakdown here. Jake from State Farm, I do, yeah. You need to see a breakdown here. You want 328 to break, all right? A clean break of that, you should run. Remember, buyers, you want to see them liquidated so they become sellers down into VWAP, and then we get our next TP. That's what we want. Failure to do that, ugly. Don't like that it's absorbing here. I do not like how VIX and ES are operating today. I really don't. I wonder if it's because it's the first like full day of the new new contract. No, I call ES as well. I look at them both, but I execute NQ. Here we go. Here we go. Bear flag starting to play out here. Come on. We need a break structure. We're looking for that break of 28 for a bigger wash down. And then we're going to look to TP in some into 14, somewhere around there. All right, this liquidity pull down here. We're looking to TP into there. We do not want this to absorb. Just want a straight snap down into that level where the green line is. And if we get... He's having a nightmare. All right, we're looking to TP some into here and some into here. That's what we're looking for. Flipping heck, mate. I want this snap here. Run this liquidity. There's a buyer on the tape at 300. Come on. This is like ridiculous. ES at its IB high again. I can't believe you're going to protect these levels without sweeping. Come on. ES still protecting IBH right now. It needs to let go. If ES won't let go of that, like I said, don't like ES and the VIX today. They're not being very nice. The way they're moving. Had divergence numerous times on the VIX today. So one thing that's got me a little spooked in this market in general, but I think we're going to get a flush here coming. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Come on. Buyer stepping into the tape here, 325s. VIX, stop fucking around and make my life hard. Fucking hell, mate. ES holding IB high. VIX doing absolutely nothing, just completely stopped. And now trading lower. Don't like this now. VIX is being an absolute arse today. Really don't like this. Maybe because it's the new contract. I don't know, but I don't like this move. They got to sell this now. Any print above 45 I don't like at this point. Any print above 45 I don't like here. As VIX trades back down to IBL and back down to current day's lows. Is not what you want to see here. And what have we left here? Liquidity. Hate that. I hate that we're leaving all this liquidity both sides. It's really, really ugly. It's being engineered in. So if we don't get TP2, I'm going to stop out here on the remainder of it. Locking in some money. As buyers just stepped in there and protected 330 as the VIX started to trade down. This is going to pop out and stop me out here, but I'm going to let it do it. Any print above 45, I'm out. Do not want it to reprice up into that. Can always re-enter. I can always get back in later. But failing to break down, failing to take the liquidity, misprints here between, there you go, so it's run me out. Misprints here again between NQ on Ninja Trader and TradingView. All right, on Ninja Trader, I've swept this. At this point here, it's swept it. I don't really understand what is going on between these two on my computer right now. That's the third misprint of the day, and that's all started on that news candle earlier. It's literally, in theory, should be impossible to do that. So it's got to be an issue because data is all pulled from one place, CME. Okay, so trading back into this old 5-minute imbalance here. And it's starting to reclaim. ES having a big response here as VIX trades down to low of days. You can see like the divergence starting to play out here. Like I said, I did not like what the VIX started to do. That's why I've stopped out here. There you go. So squeezing higher. This is why you have your stops in. And you respect the charts. Cannot be too sentiment biased when you start to see divergence play out. What do you mean? How do you know which contract TradingView uses? There's only one contract it can use. There's only one contract live right now, which is the NQM. Oh. All right. What am I cautious of now? We didn't sweep that, which is ugly. And we're starting to create that. There's your W. Failed to take the lows. That's where we didn't like it anymore. And now we trade upside. This is the high that is protecting right now. If it builds liquidity here, it's got unfinished business where? Top of this gap. ES held IB high. All right, so ES IB high was here. That was the key. VIX trading underneath IBL right now. My ninja's rolled over. Everything's rolled over, guys. Everything's rolled over. There's no old contract. It's done. All right. ES trading back towards high of day. Like we said, what didn't we like here? It's the one reason why I felt iffy about the short, because this didn't do this. We left liquidity here. Now we've left liquidity here. My guess is these will both be abused at some point today. These will both be abused. Maybe we clean that and come back for that later. Maybe we clean that and come back for that later. It's engineered in right now. Is the market playing games right now? For sure. For sure. So I'm like, risk off. We had that one trade. TP1 here. We were looking for it. TP2. And if we got lucky somewhere down here. Didn't get it. So TP1 and then we stopped out. Now we wait. So stopped out above this high for me. This is why you have to use stops, folks. You cannot be the trader trying to force that lower. Even if you took that, that's fine. But once it doesn't go and it takes out, you have to stop. You can't be add. Like we said. We said it can do this move. That's why I said any reclaim of this is no bueno. We're getting close to lunch now. Trust me, this is building liquidity to abuse people today. SPY back above its 200-day moving average. I think better trade's going to come later in the week. I'm going to have to just let this do whatever it wants for the next few sessions, I think. Because we've gone breakout on the daily, and we've driven up really hard overnight and not given New York traders much of a chance to get long. And the longs that we called early, for whatever reason, I had tech issues and couldn't get in and out properly. And now we've kind of completed the move. So we're into the gap, and the buying continuation becomes less and less good in terms of risk reward. The question here is, do they hold this? Remember, I'm looking at the SPY and ES. That's one of my guides today, because SPY is at the 200-day. I know that that's a big level. I know that the ES keeps trying to hold its IBH, and I know that if it keeps doing that, there is a drift higher in it. Ay. Let's see if we can fix this Discord. Okay, drifting high. Market's still holding on here. Sorry, folks. I'm trying to fix the news tab in my Discord. Starting to build that right shoulder here on the reclaim. This is why I didn't like the shorts anymore. We can think about shorts later if it starts to set up. ES failing to make a new high here, still building upside pressure. Still liquidity on the book higher here. All right, 370, 375, 380, 385, 390, 400. That's why they're trying to drag the market up to. ES about to make a new high here. That flat top there. Now it's triple high up there now. So they're definitely engineering and messing around right now. Should drift higher here. Watch divergence though, in case the ES sweeps it and then like fails back inside here. Again, that 200-day moving average key. Look at that swipe. Again, complete misprint. Oh my God, what is going on my computer today? Jeez Louise. Okay, ES making a new high there. Does it fail back inside now? Or do we get a sustained print higher? You got divergence between the ES and the NQ. ES made a new high, swept everyone out, trading inside. NQ did not make a new high. To make that clear, ES just took all of this out and is doing this. Yes, it held its IBH, built liquidity, and drove up. All right, NQ did not hold its IBH, drifted a little bit lower, didn't sweep that swing low, and drifted up. And there's not taking the high of day out either. Still liquidity on the book higher on the NQ here. Still liquidity higher. Back down to the 200-day now on the spiders. Back down to build this right shoulder out if it wants to hold it. I'm becoming less and less interested in this action right now, the way it's operating. I'm wondering if that's the sweep to go lower now on the ES after all that fuss. And if we're now going to take out liquidity lower, but I don't like it. It doesn't look attractive to me. The book doesn't look good. Seeing that liquidity hold up higher, looking for the drift higher. In terms of structure, it doesn't look good. All right, we can keep holding this. Very, very possible that the market can do that, but the probability of it doing it becoming less and less and less. Here's the kill candle back down to that RBS. I have to see how they operate. They soak again. Soak again off that. That right shoulder really starting to be built and looking better and better and better for upside. But it's just hard to think about this with ES having swept already the highs. A lot of games here. VIX set a low of day. Like it was a buy today, but like we said at the beginning of the day, don't want to be buying up here. I don't really want to be buying up into the gap. Just letting it shake out. Oh, we're into lunch. I didn't even realize. Wow. Wow. Well, job done then. That's me done for the day. Pretty much a flat day after all that. And look at that. Screens just resetting by themselves. Thanks, TradingView. Are you kidding me? There's got to be data issues. Where have my flow zones gone? Everything resetting itself. There's got to be data issues. I've got to have data issues here. Jesus. All right, team. Well, that's a good sign. That's a good sign for me to get away from these charts right now. But I've got data issues, which it seemed like I've had all day long for some reason. I'm sorry about that. Not much I can do. Back tomorrow, hopefully with a better session, because that was a little bit crappy probably for you guys to watch. But at least most of you should have got the longs earlier. Maybe you got a scalp short and that's it. And we'll see what sets up. Those in Discord will be back later on in the day. This still looks good for that trend higher right now into the 400s. Looks like what it wants to do. And we'll go from there. Peace and love. Use hard stops. Remember, like we saw earlier, one little tweet from Trump. It's all it takes for this market to freak out. All right, you've got to use hard stops. Have to use hard stops. You are trend higher all the time. ES and NQ are protecting these levels. All right, now I can't draw. Look at this. Hi, TradingView. I give up. I give up with TradingView. Why? They've done an update and it's ruined it, clearly. And now my data's gone. Look at this. We're drifting higher and there's no data on TradingView. It's completely frozen. Wow. Yeah. Guys, I can't trade when it does this stuff. It's literally impossible for me. I cannot trade when it does this. All right, peace and love. Back tomorrow. Those in Discord, I'll be in there later. And trade safe. Peace.